Welcome to Introduction to Business Management 111 online, offered by Harper College. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This week we're going to week 6, and there's only one chapter we'll be reviewing, and that chapter will be on motivation. So if you look at motivation, think of it when you're reading the chapter. How do I as a manager, a business owner, or motivate an employee? No different than how do I as an instructor motivate this class to do their homework and everything in a timely manner. So look at it from that perspective. Now, remember, what you're going to learn in motivation here for employees is the same. You're going to learn about Maslow, you're going to learn about Herzberg, you're going to learn about different theories. These are the same theories that will be utilized when we go into the marketing chapter. How do I motivate customers to come to my store? How do I motivate customers to buy my product? What motivates certain customers' impulse buying? So the same thing you learn as motivation when you look at the Herzberg, the hierarchy, all that is transferable to marketing and other aspects within the business. Okay, so what do we have for this week? Before I go on discussing this week, let me give you a real quick overview of last week. You're doing real well. Our class has settled down to where we're at. We're about 15, 18 within the class. We started off with 20, so that's still a nice number to work with. Okay, now, what do you call it? Leadership takes charge, flexible. Last week we talked about organic and mechanistic, and it all affects on the leadership. So you did well on that. Your forms you're turning in by Tuesday midnight, and see, by Tuesday midnight, when you turn in the forms by Tuesday midnight, what happens is other people can respond to your form, and then we really have an interaction. Remember, like I keep on mentioning, it's no different than in the business world. I try to get you to respond within 24 hours or to the customer, because customers can't wait. So that's why the forms you have by Tuesday, your first post, and I respond back and forth. What happened last week, I responded right back and forth, but then I kind of stood out from the background. I was just listening how you communicate within the forum. This is important because you have to understand, in business, a lot of times you may be communicating to other team members. Your supervisor, your team leader, he or she is also in that loop, but they're not responding. They want to see how the team works. Remember, we talked about empowerment. We've talked about self-motivated teams. We talked about that entrepreneur spirit. As an employee, I took on this job responsibility, this service to this organization, and I will do my fullest to achieve what they are paying me for and what I agreed on. So last week, I was listening to your motivations, I was listening to how you interacted, and you did very well. But I still had to comment. So more and more, I want this team as a whole to start responding to forums. I am listening, I am watching, I'll jump in when I think it's something that's critical to a learning moment. Otherwise, I want to see how you as a team, similar in a business situation, would be helping each other solve the problem or come up with the issue. Okay, so now this week, what do we have? We're going to be talking about motivation. So let me go into the subject matter. You're going to learn about intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Remember, intrinsic's inside. Those are the real true motivators. Extrinsic, when you learn from Herzberg, hygiene factors, reward, the pay, that's really good. We need that. I mean, that's the initiator of a motivator. But wouldn't it be nice? I received a good pay for the work I do, and plus a job that I enjoy. And that's what we're all looking. And how do I know I did a real good job? Is inside. I did my best. I got that B in my stats class. I got that B in this class when we were doing a motivation. You look at the scientific method, they're motivated by piecework, basically by a reward, the carrot in front. We still utilize that. Some parts of motivation, for me, how to motivate, I have to see what I'm doing wrong. So scientific method, you'll read about Gilbert, looking at emotion studies to see where we could improve. And that's part of the process of improving. Remember last time the chapter 9, we talked about what do you call it, quality and operational management. This is where the scientific method comes into play in motivation. I look at employees working. How do I minimize the service between when the customer calls my operation and when he or she finally either receives a tangible product or the service? Are you stressed? You talked about, look about Mayo. Make sure you focus in on the Hawthorne studies, what that came out. Maslow, the hierarchy needs. Remember, you start off at the bottom of the physiological, not psychological, physiological. nutritional, basic food, and you go into safety, and then you go to social needs, and then you go self-esteem, self-accusation. And as we progress and grow within the team, within the organization, and we satisfy different needs, other motivators are needed to keep us motivated and on target. One thing to remember, according to Maslow, it's a pyramid. Once you get to the top, you reach that plateau, you either change a job or something happens, you fall back down. So you'll motivate the individual. If I'm at the physiological, the first step, to pat me in the back is not going to help me. I'm at that stage where I need food, money, to have basic necessities. Then the next stage is security. And nowadays, security is not with the machinery or some of that. That is part of the security. But the other security, will I have a job within the 5 years or 2 years or 3 years, whatever contractual agreement I have with the organization. Then you look at Herzberger. Herzberger is looking at job content, and he is basically focusing on the intrinsic. What really makes me a motivator? So there's a little difference on that. Then you got McGuire, theory X, theory Y. Why that becomes important is because if I think that every employee is lazy, good for nothing, every student is trying to cheat, there's a theory X type, autocratic, then my policy mindset when I'm talking to employees or customers are basically that you're going to rip me off, so I have this shield, a facade, stay away from me. If I think, as a theory Y, that participate, and most people, majority, 90% of people enjoy what they're doing, they love to come to work, they're not out to rip me off, and now my mindset with them is to help those people, motivate them, and give them all the things they need, and the 10% that are trying to take advantage of me, I become my theory X, and I'll address their issues separately. Okay, Ochi theory is basically Japanese to take a little bit of everything. When you start reading about motivation, there is no one motivator theory out there. It's a bunch of stuff. There's not one person that is the same. We're all unique. So we need different kind of concepts, different motivators, different pros, different reward systems, different pats on the back, depending on where I'm at with the different skill sets, depending what is acceptable within my culture, and depending what's acceptable with my age and my social status, what I feel is a good motivating tool. Okay, so then you got reinforcement theory, expectancy theory, look about job enrichment. How do I get people to, you remember, because there's not that many promotions going up. Most organizations that we learned for the last few chapters are flat organizations, so I can't promote them up to another level. And how do I motivate individuals? I move from one department to another department, or a complementary department to another department, as to motivate and give them a change in learning new skills. And then overall, they become, they understand how the whole company works, the different aspects, different departments, different functionalities. So that is how companies now and going forward will motivate or move you for an overseas assignment. So look at that, characteristics of job. When do I use open communication? How do I recognize good work? Just to tell somebody you did a good job and they know that was not up to par to anybody's standard, you're not really motivating that person. You're sending that person mixed signals. Okay, global employees, a little different to motivate. Look at the generation differences between the baby boomers, myself, and the new generation Y, millennials that are coming in. They have a whole different way of how to motivate and what they expect. They're not looking at the long term and say, hey, I see my parents worked for a company for a long time and you lost everything else, so now I am for the moment. Tell me how much, what could I do, and how do I, what's my next promotion or my next job assignment. Okay, so that takes care of chapter 10 of motivation. Make sure you use the conceptual maps and what do you call the PowerPoints, and you'll do real well. Okay, so now this week, what are we going to have? We're going to have the motivation, one chapter, for the reading, easy reading. You're going to do McGraw Hill Connect. And this one is worth, I think I put down 20 points for the McGraw Hill Connect, so you can make up one McGraw Hill Connect. It's a video, it's a drag and drop, and talks about different motivational concepts, just so you understand. And then you're going to have one quiz, and the quiz is worth, now this quiz is going to be a little different. I'm going to change it a little bit. It's worth 15 points, but it's not a multiple choice quiz. It's a video quiz. You can read the see a video when you click on the quiz, and if you can't see the video, they'll have a quick summarization of what the video is at. So you look at the video, look at the summarization, answer an essay question. Remember, each question is worth 5 points, so just don't give me a one-liner saying, I think this will motivate some. Explain a little bit if you want the 15 points, and then you have 2 other questions that you'll basically give me an essay or a short answer. Remember, short answer, a paragraph or less. It's 5 sentences or less, or more if you want. All right, for the point. Now, the reason for this is in business, majority of your responses and decisions as we're going to decision making are usually after the fact. How am I going to motivate somebody? What I see, what's going on, is after the fact is done. So here you see the case, you see what's going on, and now could you identify areas that need to be corrected, or identify areas should I motivate this? So the video quiz, just a different quiz. I'll see how you do. Don't worry, you do well. Okay, so you've got one chapter, and you've got the regular Connect with a video in there, and then you got another video quiz that's worth 15 points. Now the discussion board. Now the discussion board is 2 forms. One's going to be on motivation. What I want you to do is when you go into motivation, the questions I basically have is less where you're working at, less several things, 3 or 4 things that they're using to motivate you. If you're not working, then use the several things that instructors do to motivate you. And you could combine the 2 and give me more than just the 4 on motivation, because here's at work and here's what I see at school, and I can see how the similarities. What I want you to do is be able to identify different motivational techniques by the concept. Are they using Maslow? They're using Herzberg? They're using Theory Y, Theory X? And now, remember, just because you've learned all the concepts, how do I put those together and take the concepts and actually put into practicality in business? That's part of the learning of education. Knowledge, I understand this. Now I take that knowledge theory and how do I use it in everyday life? This is the difference between business and some of the other classes you have taken. The next forum is Forum 2. It's just many forums worth 5 points. Tell me a little bit about any problems or anything else. Now start asking questions about your feasibility project. You have a research paper. Just do at the end. I think 5 or 6 pages, 2,000 words or plus. I mean that's 300 words to 400 words a page. That's about 5 or 6 pages. What your research paper is going to be is not a full mini business plan, but it's is it a feasibility for me to open up a business or a new product line? So I have to know who my customers are, who's going to manage them, how much money I think it's going to take, where I'm going to open up the store, target. And those are questions. I'm just starting you. So think of a project. If you're thinking of opening up a business, before you open up and do a full business plan, you're doing a real quick feasibility. Is this market even something I want to do? So you can ask the basic questions. Okay, so we'll have that forum too. Or if you have no questions at this time, and we're going to have other explanations on the research, I just want you to start thinking as we're doing the other forums. Okay, so we're doing well. So you have this week you have 2 forums, a major one 20 points, a mini one worth 5 points. You have a Connect that's worth 20 points. You have a quiz that's a video quiz, a little different. Remember, in business we always got to change a little bit. Well, this is an online class. I'm still having the same thing in week 4. Nothing's changing. It's just that the format or how I am delivering the material is a little bit different. You're all doing well on your forums. Keep it up. Make sure you do a Connect. Go into week 2. No assessments this week. This is something from the heart, something that you've already been observing when you go into the forums, and something you'll be asking going forward. So my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Introduction to Business Management 111, offered online by Harper College. We'll be covering chapters, I want to say chapter 10 on motivation, and I'll see you in the forum. Thank you.